Alright, hello. Today I am gonna show you an amazing setup for Wisp specifically and Valkyr. The setup is... Oh, my form of finished building. Okay. This setup is specific to these two Warframes and it is very, very nice. It feels incredible because you are simply unkillable. So, let's see what it is and take a look. So, knowing that I mentioned Valkyr, you would probably think Warcry, and you would be correct. So, compared to my normal build, I replace Augur Secrets and just put Eternal War, so I can keep Warcry active forever and no need to recast it. So, before we get to the actual build, the idea is basically just a melee setup. A normal melee setup that also makes you quite unkillable. And how can that happen, you may ask? So, melee fortification is an arcane that doesn't have a number of stack limit. This can, in theory, reach unlimited stacks, but you can get as many stacks as possible for 10 seconds. So you melee, you kill things, and every 10 seconds, or after you get a kill, the buff for that kill will last 10 seconds. So you have a 10-second period to stack it for as long as you can, and then you just have to keep killing with your melee weapon. So this is an arcane that you have to think that I need to play melee only. So with an arcane like this on your favorite melee weapon, you would probably combine it with dexterity arcanes, and you would be correct. So for primary weapon, I like to use my Kuvacom. Feels really nice using dexterity with this, especially because it can prime a bit on its own. But generally it feels really good. Just a setup with a bit of overkill fire rates, just to take care of acolytes, nothing else. And then Wisp with Warcry. Warcry increases our base armor value, which normally on a Wisp Prime is not very high. It is... Jeez, where is it? Well, okay, I guess... well... I'll have to link her in chat to see what my base armor value is. I don't even know at this point. It is 210, so not a lot of armor, realistically. But then you have to think about this. So this is at max rank 210 armor. You can easily get around 25 kills every 10 seconds. So 25 times 210. This equals around, what, 4,000 armor? Literally 4,000 armor. And then you have this. We have the armor from my Wisp, which is 885. And then on the Warcry build, we add Arcane Reaper, which increases our armor by a further 660 at max rank and increases the health regen. So if we go to the EHP calculator, was it hypothermia? Yeah, this one. If we go to this funny website that, why doesn't it show? Hello? Device connected or not available. Huh. Oh, it's capturing my second screen. That is interesting. Hold up. Wait a minute. Why is it capturing my second screen? There we go. Alright. Sorry about that. So we have the CHP calculator, right? So with Wisp, with the build that we're running, you can reach around 1800 HP. Pretty good. Wait, my the shield doesn't matter. We just want the HP. So 1800 health. So right now we're looking at, this is like 4.2, and then, so this is 5,050 or 5,150. So 5,150 armor at 25 stacks plus, okay, wait, 5,150 plus 660 plus 885. I'll need a freaking calculator to make this fast. So this is 6,695 armor. All right. 6,695 armor. This is a 96% damage reduction. And then we can have adaptation. So that's 90% damage reduction. So this is our effective health now. On Wisp as well, who regens health constantly. You can clearly see why this is broken. And I can easily add 90% from adaptation. You know why? Because you're doing a melee setup, so enemies will hit you constantly. You are not trying to avoid enemies hitting you whatsoever. You're just trying to play. And this is before I factor in Warcry, that increases the base armor value by 164%. Although, for Wisp herself, this isn't really that big, because, as I said, the base armor value is 210. So this would take us to, what, 7,000 armor instead of our 6.6k that we have now. So, overall, not that huge of a difference, but it does help killing things quickly with melee weapons. In general, it's just very, very OP with the augment and just the attack speed steroid. You're gonna see it in action, but generally, you can imagine how OP this setup would be on something like a Valkyrie that constantly regens health. Now, one thing to mention and one thing to keep in mind when doing the setup is this doesn't work on Exalted Weapons. So if you're trying to kill with Valkyrie's Talons and maintain the buff, you are not gonna get the buff. But what this does work is with Warframes that can benefit from the armor multiplicatively with abilities such as Neza and Rhino. So if you do something like this on Neza and Rhino and go a melee setup, you can reach an Iron Skin or Warding Halo value of ridiculous amounts and become even tankier. But I feel like these Warframes do not need any more tankiness than they already have, especially Rhino. However, on Wisp's case, I do like having more tankiness when I'm trying to do a melee focused build. Now, if there was a thing I would change here, because, you know, at this point, with the format that I have, I cannot, is I would replace my normal stretch with Archon stretch, and I would try to fit in Fused Reservoir to make it a bit more comfortable, which I normally dislike. But in this case, it's nice because you do want to use your third buff, since it is just free condition overload when using this build and a bit of CC. So, Fused Reservoir, Archon Stretch, something to keep an eye out. I don't own Archon Stretch, but this is the thing that can make it better. So, now that we've explained this for quite a while, I'm gonna be using the Nepheri, because I have a Riven mod on them to do damage. This is the Riven mod itself, has negative Grenier, so RIP for Grenier enemies. But in general, it feels really nice to use, and then, you know, setup in general feels really nice to use. So I'm gonna go try this on... I could try this on Elara because enemies do more damage here, but I'm gonna go mod because of the double damage stacking. And so, how this works in action, real quick, uncut. So, one thing just to keep in mind, because you are using Eternal War, I want you to get everything up to 250 stacks for the Molt Augmented buff, and then you can add the third mod, the Electricity mod, and then you can add Internal War. So for now you're just melee. And we have double Dexterity Arcane, so now if we're trying to use our normal primary weapons that do a lot of damage, as you can see, but we usually just have them for Acolyte killing, which I'm gonna show when the Acolyte spawns. Nepheri in general is a weapon that I really like using because it has multiplicative CO on the secondary fire. So if I use my Epitaph on these guys, then use this one, and the flame attack from the third part deals multiplicative damage with condition overload. So it hurts a lot. It hurts a lot. The stance also has quite a few nice stuff like a dash that you can use, a lot of damage, a lot of force procs, and you can also move around like a curveball with a bit of range. So in general, this is a very fun stance. So I like using it. I'm gonna try to get into a more compact area to get more stacks of the arcanes. I'm gonna search for it because I didn't get a good starting tile set, unfortunately. I feel like if I go up there it could be good, right? Never mind. Alright, let's just stay here. Here is fine. So I'm at 120 stacks. You see now with arcane, the melee exposure arcane is on 19, 20, 28, 29, so 29, 30, 32. So the average of 20 stacks is easily reachable, as you see, as I reach 38 stacks at some point of the arcane, which pretty much justifies what I was talking about with the armor value. So it's 30 times 20, 210. It is a lot of armor from the arcane. You become an absolute beast of a tank. So I'm gonna add third mod now. We're getting close to 250. Alright. Alright, we have 250. Now we're gonna use our war cry. Now you can see the attack speed goes nuts, if it wasn't already. And your DPS, depending on the melee weapon of course, but with an Neferi it is, yeah. Barrow slash builds goes nuts completely. I think it has heat damage a bit too. But I do believe on Neferi it's innate, I don't use anymore than the innate. But yes, very easy to keep yourself at around 20 fortification stacks, which will increase your armor value by a lot. And in general, you're gonna completely wreak havoc. But as always, this is melee focus build, so suggestion for me is to either use it on an endless mission that you know you're gonna go very high level, or you're gonna use it on a mission that you're gonna play solo for fun, like I'm doing right now. If you wanna go on a squad and play for, you know, Steel Essence farming on a survival mission, you probably wouldn't want to pick something like this, as you're most likely going to slow down the mission more than you're going to do good to your teammates, but yeah. In general, big damage, big armor values, mucho tankiness, me like. As you see, the adaptation value is constantly on 90%, on puncture value is 20%, but the slash value, which is the important one, is constantly on 90%, so as long as we just keep meleeing, it's gonna stay like that forever. War is here, war is gone. And now I'm just waiting for the Acolyte so I can show you what I would do on the Acolyte, because I don't want to use the melee on the Acolyte, so he's here. I'm gonna take my primary weapon of choice that I've stacked with arcane dexterity. To stack it with the galvanized modes, have it ready. And done. So you can prime him, it does deal quite a bit of damage on its own. Generally something a bit less tankiness or something that is more weak to viral than Malice will die instantly, but yeah. In general, that is just the build. Not much to it. I like the damage that can go really high up because of the multiplicative CO on that ability, but 90k hit proc, even through armor. Very nice. This is the setup. Quite fun. Not really something that is like competitive, but overall, if you do want to go melee setup instead of just the throwing glaive setup that people usually do, this is something to keep an eye out for, because it is quite strong. It is way stronger than people expect, and nobody really uses the fortification arcane. Nobody really talks about it. And I feel like it's a bit OP. At some point you saw me reach 38 stacks of this. So 38 times 210 is 8,000 armor almost. It's literally 7,980 armor just from the arcane. So that is absolutely ridiculous. I think that you could unironically tank even 4-digit level enemies pretty reliably by going this setup. I should probably test that. Just go on a disruption mission whenever I have time. And yeah, that's. I mean, it's really strong. I love this. I actually love this so much. I need to probably test more weapons, to be honest, but so far the Neferi is a very enjoyable for me. And Neferi and Tackle Prime in general, these two weapons, I feel like they are super OP for normal melee. But if you wanna go dual Licor, I mean, it's gonna go nuts. If you wanna go dual Keres, it's gonna go nuts. If you wanna go Priest Myoma, something like so many weapons you can do with this. Just, you know, no glaives, no heavy melee stuff, just normal melee build. So that's gonna be it for today's video. I haven't forgotten about the Limbo guide, but I'm gonna show you right now. We have no Limbo. Ever. I want to get one Limbo on the circuit, get level cap, record that level cap run, or at least one round of it so I can show you that it is easy to do level cap with it, explain how the build works, and that's about it. So please give me a bit of time. I have work to do and I just tend to rely on luck when it comes to the circuit, which I haven't been so lucky the past few days. Anyways, I'll have links of Discord and Twitch below in the description, and I hope to see you in the next video.